From Southern California, this is The Circle of Insight, a show about everything in psychology. Hear the latest in news and views on psychology. Our motto is simple: wherever there is psychology involved, we are there. And now, here's your host of The Circle of Insight, Carlos Vasquez.
From wherever you are around the world, welcome and thank you for joining us. Today's show is a very special show. We're going to be talking about the psychology of an actress with a real live actress. Her name is Kelly Carlson. She's a TV actress and movie star. She's been on one of the leads of Nip Tuck, and a Golden Globe winner, as well as 8 years that it ran on TV. You can't beat that. Thank you very much. Welcome to The Circle, Kelly.
Thank you for having me.
This is a wonderful opportunity. You're a very special guest. We're trying to understand human behavior. We're looking at human behavior in a lot of different lights on this show.
Sure.
And this is one that was really fascinating to us, was the psychology of an actress. What goes on in the head of an actor or an actress? It seems complicated. I'm really a big fan of it, and I've seen a lot of things that actors and actresses have to do to be able to get into roles, and I want to explore that with you today. But before we get to that, I want to find out, how does Kelly prepare herself for a role? Now, your role was Kimber Henry, if I remember correctly. So what did you do like the first day they told you, Kelly, you're going to be Kimber Henry, this is what she's going to be, which wasn't really stable.
Right.
And you said, wow, that's not me at all here.
Right,
How
right.
do you get ready for that?
Well, first, I need to find a similarity between me and her, right? So, because you want to be as authentic to the character as you can, meaning what traits do we share, what beliefs, what emotions, relationships, past experiences. And if you don't have any, you have to develop them and make them up, right? So I'll get to that in a second. But so with Kimber, we obviously look alike. I'm just kidding.
You had me going for a minute.
Right,
yes.
right. I think our personalities are, I don't know if personality is the right word, but we have, like, let's say a similar sense of humor. I can be Kelly while playing Kimber. I don't have to adjust how I talk to people and interact. We're both kind of an extrovert.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, do.
Did you have those personality traits? Did the writer give those already to the character so you got to look at it? Or were you able to? How was that?
Probably while I was hired. Because there's always going to be some through line of traits between the actor and the character. Because if you're on the opposite side, you know, if you don't know someone's work, you need to go, wow, her energy exudes this character I wrote. Gotcha. I think it was my overall energy, because I can always bring my energy down, but they don't necessarily know if you can bring it up. Because that's something that comes across on camera that isn't a science. It's like...
What is that? Getting your energy up?
Well, getting your energy up, but also... having the audience feel it. It's like a cellular explosion type of thing that you don't see, but you recognize in an actor. Like you feel.
So when the agent was looking at you to cast the role, that's what he probably saw in you. So that's what
I would imagine. If,
okay.
You know, what he had in his mind, like, oh, you know what, they have a similar personality. Now their behavior is probably totally different, but you know, they'd probably conduct a room the same way. You know what I mean? Like
Gotcha.
how they interact with people generally. And so I, you know, made those comparisons and connections. And then I looked at her background that they gave me. And I'm going to backtrack just for a second.
Right.
What's important when you write a character, like if you're a writer, you have to have an internal conflict, and it's the through line from start to finish of a show. For instance, Sopranos, Tony Soprano. The reason why that show lasted so long, this is total psychology, is he was on a mission to understand if his family was his actual family or the mafia. He was always in conflict. You know, it's not like you're watching an episode and you're like, oh, he's in conflict. It's they present it in a pilot, and then it becomes all these other storylines that address this issue. Does
So
that
it's the
make any-
underlying theme the whole
Yes.
entire time. The underlying theme is his internal conflict.
Yes.
And then he has these additional conflicts that come up in the
Right.
show.
Everything else
Gotcha.
colors it. And
Interesting.
so I needed to find out what Kimber's was. And hers was needing and wanting to be loved and accepted by a man. Well, who can't relate to that, even if you're, So, okay, I just had to fill it in with a ton of insecurity, which caused bad behavior on her part. Like where
I would say so, yes.
have a little more better judgment and self-control. So it was, I had to recognize similar and then opposite and figure, as long as I always in my mind was going, okay, Kelly, Kimber, all she really cares about and will put up with almost anything as long as she believes she's being loved and cared for, even in the worst circumstances of abuse. Keep it in your mind. I have to remember that about my character because me, Kelly, wouldn't stand for that. But so you have to trick your mind a little bit, kind of like, here's what I compare it to in a way. Your consciousness, right? So if I told you this before, if you take a lie detector test and you're not a psychopath or sociopath.
That's another show, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. The lie detector is going to pick up on your
Your
heart
physiological
rate.
readings? Yeah.
Yes. Because that's authentic. Now, if you wanted to trick, like if your intention was to trick a lie detector test, you're going to have to do a lot of, playing games in your mind, tricking your mind.
I see what you're saying.
So the physical doesn't react to your consciousness. Now, I don't know people that can do it, but that's what acting is in the reverse. I have to always remember her guts, which is what drives her emotionally.
She became almost a real person in a sense.
Oh, yeah, totally. Because I add in a ton of other things, the writers do, but as long as always when I'm on camera, I'm just thinking I'm building a consciousness of my character so that it just comes natural to me. Like, because your body language reacts to your consciousness and people around you and all that stuff. And I have to be able to react to abuse in a scene, in a way Kimber would, not the way I would. So I have to
That gets tricky.
absorb what this person would be doing. So when I'm working, I naturally will react that way.
Hi, welcome to Adelante. This is Adelante Recovery, and my name is Yvette Kuglin, and I'm part of the staff.
Adelante Recovery Center has helped people in dual diagnosis for 5 years. We accept most PPO insurances and provide luxury accommodations and 24-hour support. To speak with an admissions counselor, call 1-888-242-4450.
A lot of time we don't even know what's wrong with us, and sometimes we need to get away to figure that out. So if you want to go for a little retreat out in Corona Del Mar, which is a confidential location, we're here to help. So we're only a phone call away. Thank you.
Over the years, as you got better and better of an understanding of how Kimber was, did you start adding certain traits and everybody's like, yeah, that's probably true. She would probably do that.
Yeah, she was occasionally the comic relief. And it wasn't anything planned. It was, she's like, I wanted her to be intelligent in certain areas of her life, but also completely out to lunch in others. And she didn't always,
You're so kind.
well, no, that for sure. But as far as the humor, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, I also wanted this really friendly side to her that was kind of ditzy or funny in the way that she's this kind of dark character, but when she interacted with strangers, she was super polite. She had good manners. She was really nice. You know, she made them feel great. But yet she's this very damaged person. So I wanted layers, and I would make those scenes when I'd meet people kind of funny. You know, like I would just...
So you brought that funniness into
Yeah,
it.
a little bit. And it's not scripted comedy. It's just... I don't know. It just came. Yeah.
That's why you did a great job. I mean, that's why you
Thank
were on
you.
that show for, 6 years almost? The show was about 8 or 9?
From start to finish.
Yeah,
I was
that's
on the
fantastic.
pilot to the end.
That's why.
Yeah, thanks.
So while you were playing that show, I think you had a couple of movies. Did you have movies in the middle of that?
Yeah, I did The Marine. I did a bunch of...
Yeah. The question I wanted to explore was, okay, so here's Kelly's got this. Now she dominates Kimber. She knows Kimber.
Mm-hmm.
I got to do some other role in a movie. How do you do that?
You know, maybe it's like a form of compartmentalizing or something. Maybe some people are better at it than others. You get this question a lot, but it's not that difficult. It's how you would interact with certain people you wouldn't with other friends of yours, because these two don't, so you wear different hats in life with people. It's the same thing.
Did you like the break? Of not having to be acting another person, not having to be Kimber all the time?
Yeah, well, I loved playing her because it was really fun. I don't like playing single note characters. It's harder, but it doesn't seem like it would be. But what I needed a break from was I'd start to feel sorry for her. And I'd get my back up. Like when I'd read something where
So if she got hurt on a scene, that would bother you?
Yeah, emotionally.
Because there's one scene I think you mentioned to me off camera here, where it seemed like it really hit you a little bit. It was the one where you said it actually hit the crew even harder than you. What was that all about?
Well, there was in season 3, Kimber gets kidnapped by the Carver. We had this serial killer. I can't remember.
Carver.
Yeah, it's
Great
based
nickname.
on a real one. The guy with the smiley face, he'd carve on people. I don't remember
That's
his
right.
name.
Yeah.
So we had the Carver. Kimber gets kidnapped and maimed. Well, not body parts taken off, but her face they went all out. It was like cigarette burns everywhere. I was burned. All my hair was gone. So when I'd walk on set, because your crew is like your family, right? And it was because it looks so real and it's hideous looking. It's not
I can imagine.
a bruise, but you still look pretty. It was like they tried to make me as ugly as possible. And I was okay with it, but other people weren't so, because it's graphic.
Did your parents see you or no?
Not in person.
Not in person.
Yeah.
Did they see that show?
Yeah.
Do you know? Mm-hmm. How did they do?
No, they know it's TV. I mean, those aren't the scenes they were like, oh my God.
Yeah,
that's
another show.
The auto asphyxiation episode that didn't go over well, right?
Yeah, we'll talk about that another time.
Right.
Actually, now, if I remember correctly, I read this. Kimber does not have a good ending.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I think she ended up suicide.
Mm-hmm.
How
Yeah.
was that for you?
I was...
Did it feel like a part of you left?
Oh, yeah, that absolutely happens when you're done with your show. A different ending was written and it got out. So that ending was kind of...
Oh, really? Wow.
quick, they had to change it. Not that she wouldn't have necessarily killed herself, but it's not even established really that she died. Because in TV, you have to see the dead body so that they have the freedom to bring you back.
Yes, I've learned that lesson several times.
She swam to the shore, right? You know what I mean? You know how it is, right, with daytime soap operas, practically come back from the dead. So... But yeah, I was sad because I didn't think it was dramatic enough for her. Everything she does is go big or go home. And then she just jumped off a boat. I understand the writers and everybody were like, they had to change it. But, that's all. I just thought she deserved more.
We're going to explore that more probably in another show, is figuring out that interaction, the dynamics between you your co-stars, the dynamics between the video guys, everybody in that
Sure.
game. That seems to be
In chemistry.
and chemistry.
That is something that I'm sure you find in psychology that there's no formula for because it's like a biological response.
Sure.
But people are watching it. So it's, how do you, that's an interesting topic.
I'm be fascinated because we can't see that. We see Kimber Henry, we see the show, 45 minutes, an hour, you're done, and we're not seeing everything that's going on behind.
Right.
Exactly why we have this show.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
We're going to cover that on part 2 of Psychology of an Actress. Sorry to tease you. This is the way it works. No baseball, fastball questions on this one, but thank you so much, Kelly, for being on the show. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoy the show as much as I did. Remember, our motto is simple. Wherever there's psychology involved, we are there, even in Hollywood. See you next time, everyone.